Listen carefully, because the world did not almost end because of hatred, nor because of war, nor because of divine punishment. It almost ended because there was too much light. In ancient Chinese mythology, disaster is not born from evil, it is born from excess. The modern mistake is to imagine the sun as an absolute blessing, as a neutral source of life, warmth, and hope. For the ancients, the sun was raw power, and too much power, even when luminous, destroys. In Chinese mythology, the sun is not moral, it's strength. Before there was a stable sky, before there were predictable seasons, before there was balance, there were 10 suns. Not 10 distant stars, but 10 living, conscious entities pulsating with their own will, observing the world from above like children who still do not understand the weight of their own existence. These 10 suns did not appear by chance. They were the children of Dijun, the primordial celestial emperor, and Shihe, the goddess who guided solar time. Each sun crossed the sky in the form of a 3-legged golden crow, a symbol of movement, vigilance, and permanence. From the beginning, there was an absolute, simple, and non-negotiable rule. Only one sun per day could cross the firmament. The others waited, resting on the Fusang cosmic tree. And the world only survived because they never appeared together. This alternation was not tradition, it was survival. The world only existed because light obeyed limits. For countless ages, this order has maintained itself. A sun was rising, the others watched. Life flourished in the exact measure of bearable heat. But error is not born of conscious evil, it is born from unbridled curiosity. The 10 suns began to observe each other not as brothers, but as comparisons. A glow seemed more intense, a flight seemed more admired. One day seemed more celebrated than another, and slowly, without conspiracy, without declared war, something more dangerous than violence was born, the desire to coexist at its peak. When the 10 suns decided to rise together, it was not an act of rebellion against the sky. It was a childish refusal to accept limits. They didn't want to destroy the world. They wanted to experience their own power without restriction. And this is where Chinese mythology becomes brutally honest. The collapse of the world doesn't need villains. It just needs forces that refuse to hold back. When the 10 suns rose at the same time in the sky, the world did not enter into symbolic conflict. He went into physical bankruptcy. The rivers dried up, the earth cracked, the crops burned while still green. Animals fell without shade. Humans began to die not from war, but from heat, from thirst, from the inability to exist in a light that never ceased. The world didn't scream, it dried. The sky did not roar. He remained too clear. And that was the real horror. There was no night to rest. There was no shade for refuge. There was no pause. Time stopped breathing. The constant light revealed a truth that myths rarely say aloud. The world needs limits more than it needs blessings. Excess light is as lethal as its absence. And the gods, watching from above, realized too late that they had created something they no longer knew how to control. That's when Hou Yi appears. And it's important to understand who he is not. Hou Yi does not emerge as a moral hero, nor as a compassionate savior, nor as a divine chosen one in the comfortable sense. It arises when all other solutions have failed. It appears as an emergency response, as a late correction, like the hand that does what needs to be done when no negotiation is possible. Hou Yi does not argue with the suns. Don't try to convince them to come down. He understands something the gods were hesitant to accept. The world will not survive if everything continues to exist. With his bow, Hou Yi shoots down 9 suns, not in celebration, not in glory, but in need. Every downed sun is not a victory. It's a cosmic amputation. Saving the world required mutilating the sky. With each fall, the heat decreases, the sky darkens little by little, life breathes again. The world does not thank you with songs, he just keeps going. And this is the cruelest and truest detail of the myth. The world does not celebrate those who save it. He just demands that someone pay the price for the impossible decision. The 10th son remains, not out of romantic mercy, but out of sheer calculation. Without any sun, the world would freeze to death. With more than one, it would burn. The remaining sun carries the trauma of the destroyed brothers. It doesn't shine like it used to. It exists as a permanent reminder that even heaven can make mistakes. Daily light is no promise of security. It is a controlled concession. Every sunrise is a silent reminder of what happens when boundaries are ignored. The legend of the 10 sons does not speak of sin. It doesn't talk about redemption. It doesn't talk about good versus evil. She talks about forced balance, containment, of the truth that crosses entire ancient cultures. The power that accepts no limits needs to be reduced, even if it is divine, even if it is luminous, even if it is loved. Hu Yi is not exalted as an eternal king. In some versions, it is punished, removed, or forgotten, because he who executes the need is rarely rewarded. It just prevents collapse. Ultimately, this story is not about heaven. It's about the world of the living. It's an old, heavy, and uncomfortable warning. Not all abundance is blessing, not all light is salvation, not all power needs to coexist. Some things need to fall so that others can continue, and when that happens, there are no clear villains, no comfortable heroes, just consequences administered too late. The 10 sons were not bad. They were excessive. Hu Yi was not fair. It was necessary. And the remaining son is not kind. It is contained. This is the logic of the ancient Chinese cosmos. A world that does not believe in eternal perfection, but in unstable balance, maintained by force when it fails by choice. And perhaps that's why this myth still bothers so much, because he does not promise salvation. He just teaches that even the light needs to learn to stop. Because when it doesn't stop alone, someone will have to knock it down.